Apart from education, you need good health, and for that you need to play sports. Kapil Dev, Indian cricketer. 10A, on your marks, set, go. 1. Speaking. G. Relative clauses v. Word building. Adjectives, nouns, and verbs p. Homographs. Read the choices below and choose the option you'd rather do. You have to choose one. Would you rather? Dot. Dot. Question mark. Rain for 20 minutes. Run on the. Go for a run in the OR treadmill in the gym for an hour. Go on a yoga OR. Go on an extreme retreat. Do 30 minutes of exercise before breakfast. Fitness course. Do 30 minutes OR of exercise after dinner. Go for a long walk. OR in 35 degrees. Swim in the sea. OR go for a long walk in -5 degrees. Do lengths in a pool. Work out once a. Work out every day OR week and be fairly and be super fit. Fit. Learn to do OR. Learn to box. Ballroom dancing. Battle of the workouts. Weights OR circuits. Yoga OR Pilates. Making the decision to get fit is the easy part. Choosing how to go about it is more difficult. We answer 4 key questions to help you decide for yourself. 1. How quickly will it make a difference? Right pointing arrow. How many calories does it burn? 3. Will it keep me motivated? What are the benefits? 2. Reading. Read the introduction to the article and look at the 3 headings. Do you know what all the activities are? Do you do any of them, or have you ever done them? B. Look through the article quickly. For which activity are these statements true? 1. Once you start, you won't want to stop. 2. It's probably the least interesting of the 6 activities. 3. It takes the longest time to show any benefits. 4. Having professional guidance will make it more varied. 5. It will make some difference straight away. 6. Some gyms have equipment which can make it less dull. C. Read the article carefully. For each pair of activities, which do you think was the winner? Y. Compare with a partner. D. Language in context in pairs. Find these nouns related to exercise and the body in the article. Exercises. 1. TR. 2. FL3 street. 4. PR. Play well in a. OR. Play badly in a match and win. 5. S. B. The number. Underscore equals the process of improving your fitness by doing. Equals the ability to bend. Equals the act of making your muscles longer. Equals an exercise in which you lie on your stomach and raise your body off the ground with your hands until your arms are straight. Equals an exercise for making your stomach muscles strong, in which you lie on the floor on your back and raise the top part of your body. Match and lose. B. The number 1. Table tennis player or 100 tennis player. In the world. B. Work in small groups and explain your choices. Which things did you disagree about? Why? I wouldn't like to do either, but if I had to choose. Dot. Dot. Closing parenthesis. Opening parenthesis. Actually, I would quite enjoy both of them, but. Dot. Dot. 6 TR equals the main part of the body apart from the head, arms, and legs. 7 SK equals a piece of cord with a handle at each end that you turn over your head and then jump over equals the bones down the middle of the back. 8 SP think of a sport or physical activity which you have done or know something about. In small groups, say as much as you can about it, answering some of the questions in the article. Weights versus circuits. 1. After the first session, your muscles will feel more toned, but significant changes will take 3 to 4 weeks. 2,136 to 340 per hour, depending on weight lifted and the recovery time between repetitions. 3. If improved body tone is your goal, then yes. 4. Great for strengthening your muscles and improving overall bone density. Weight training speeds up the rate at which calories are burned, resulting in quicker weight loss. Winner. After 2 weeks of twice-weekly circuits. 2,476 per hour. You are unlikely to get bored, as circuits can constantly change their content and order. 4 circuits address every element of fitness, aerobic, strength, balance, and flexibility. A good instructor should introduce new tools, like skipping ropes and weights, to make sure you are always developing new skills. Yoga versus Pilates. 1 after 8 weeks of thrice weekly sessions. 2,102 per hour for a class based on stretching. Power yoga burns 245 per hour. 3 yoga is about attaining a sense of unity between body and mind, rather than achieving personal targets. However, you will feel a sense of accomplishment as you master the poses, and there are lots of different types to try. 4. The American Council on Exercise found that people who did yoga for 8 weeks experienced a 13% improvement in flexibility. They were also able to perform 6 more press-ups and 14 more sit-ups at the end of the study. Winner. After 5 to 6 weeks of thrice weekly sessions. 2,170-237 an hour. 3. Once you start noticing positive changes in the way you move and hold your body, Pilates is hard to give up. 4. Widely used by dancers and top athletes. Pilates improves your posture and strength. It develops the abdominal muscles which support the trunk. Spinning versus step. 1 after 2 to 3 weeks of twice weekly sessions. 2,408-646 an hour. 3. Although it's a group session, you can increase the workload as you get fitter. Avoid boredom by looking out for classes with video screens that take you on a virtual ride through pleasant scenery. 4. Pedaling works most of the muscles in the legs and buttocks, so you will get an unbelievably toned lower body. But your heart and lungs are the biggest beneficiaries. Winner. 1 after 4 weeks of twice weekly classes. 2,510-612 per hour. Depending on height of step. 3. You will notice changes in your body shape fairly quickly, but there are only so many times you can step onto a platform before utter boredom takes hold. 4. A study carried out in California showed that people who did step for 6 months experienced a 3.3% increase in the bone density of their spines and hip and leg bones. It has good aerobic benefits as well as toning muscles in the bottom and legs. Adapted from The Guardian. 3. Vocabulary word building. Adjectives, nouns, and verbs. Without looking back at the article, complete the sentences with a word made from the adjective strong. 1. Widely used by dancers and top athletes, Pilates improves your posture and your muscles, and 2. Great for improving overall bone density. B. Complete the chart. Adjective, noun. Strong, long. Verb, deep, wide, high, heighten, weak, short, thick, flat. Note that heighten, verb, doesn't mean make higher. It means intensify, e.g. exercise can heighten your sense of well-being. C. Complete the sentences with a word from B in the correct form. 1. I often have to. New trousers. Because they're usually too long for me. 2. Can you measure the and of the living room? I want to order a new carpet. 3. I'm more or less the same as my sister, but my brother is much taller than us. 4. People's muscles tend to get older. 5a. What's the as they of the water here? B. About 10 meters, I think. 6. If you want to. The source, add flour. In 7. The building was completely the explosion. 8. He's almost unbeatable. He doesn't have any real. 9. This road needs to be narrow. 10. The manager has buying several new players. It's 2. The team buy 11a. I love this coat, but the sleeves are a bit short. B. You could always get them. 12. You've been very ill. You need to build up your Again. 4. Listening and speaking. A 10.1 Listen to extracts 1 to 6 from sports commentaries and match them to 6 of the Olympic sports in the photos. B. Match phrases AL from the commentaries to sports 1 to 6 in A. There are 2 phrases from each. Then listen again and check. A sprint finish. Great elevation on both jumps. Have lost their rhythm. A little bit of a stumble. Make a long putt. Has got the arm lock. A, B, S, D, E, F, G. Getting into her stride. H. A safely through. Go in for a birdie. J. Keep his elbow turned. K. Chase her down. L. The gap is opening. 10.2 Listen to an interview with Ollie Hogben, a sports commentator. Tick. Check mark. The things he talks about. His family background. Why he became a sports commentator. How many different sports he commentates on, how commentary should interact with pictures technology in sport. A sport that he's an expert in. Cheating in football. The value of good commentary. The worst thing about his job. His most memorable sporting occasion. D. Listen again and mark the sentences T. True. Or F. False. Dot. Correct the F sentences. 1. As a child, Ollie enjoyed playing sport much more than watching it. 2. He's a talented sportsman himself. 3. He used to commentate when he was at school. 4. His love of words came before his love of sport. 5. He thinks you have to really understand a sport in order to commentate on it. 6. He thinks it's important to always keep talking. 7. He never disagrees with officials when he's commentating. 8. He finds it difficult to tell whether a sportsperson is cheating or not. 9. He thinks commentary should be functional, not ornamental. 10. He remembers his first Olympics because the stadium was incredible. 10.3 Listen to Ollie telling the story of the Norwegian wrestler Stig Andre Berger. Number the events in the correct order 1 to 5. He went to the Rio Olympics. He saw his mother for the last time. He won the bronze medal. 1. He went to a tournament to qualify for the Rio Olympics. He found out that his mother was seriously ill. F. Answer the questions in small groups. Do you know any feel-good sports stories like that of Stig Andre Berger? What do you think are the qualities of a good sports commentator? Do you think you'd be a good sports commentator? Why not? Question mark. Which sport? S. Could you commentate on? Ollie says that most sportspeople are very honest people. Do you agree? Do you think athletes who have been banned for taking drugs should be allowed to return to sport? 6. Pronunciation homographs. Homographs. Homographs are words that are spelt the same but have different meanings. Most are pronounced the same, e.g. a football fan, an electric fan, but some are pronounced differently, e.g. bow, bow, equals move your head or the top half of your body forwards and downwards, as a sign of respect. Bow, bow, equals 1. A weapon used in archery for shooting arrows. 2. A hair decoration made of ribbon. A look at the groups of sentences which contain homographs. Match the homographs to pronunciation A or B. Led a led, B, Lee. D. Gonzalez is coming into the final straight. She's in the lead with 100 meters to go. 1. 2. Scuba divers attach lead weights to their belts to help them dive. 5. Grammar relative clauses. Row A, ru. B, row. 3. A look at the options in sentences 1 to 7 and cross out any which are not correct. We were sitting in the front row, so we could almost touch the players. 4. The coach had a row with the owner of the team. First John McEnroe, whom won Wimbledon in the 1980s, now works as a sports commentator. 5. 2. He ran the marathon in 2 hours 22 minutes, which was a new course record. 3. I feel really sorry for the players that, who, dash closing parenthesis, lost. 4. The captain, that, whose brother also plays in the team, is from Holland. 5. The coach got on well with the players that, who, dash closing parenthesis, she trained. 8. 6 new trainers. Thanks, they're just that, which I wanted. 7. Those are the gloves that, which, dash closing parenthesis, Muhammad Ali wore when he beat Joe Frazier in 1975. If you tear a muscle or a ligament, you may not be able to train for 6 months. 9. As she listened to the national anthem, a tear rolled down her cheek. People who row tend to have very well developed biceps. Putting a pattern, Putin. 6. 7. He was still putting on his boots when the match started. She's been putting beautifully and is now 6 under par. Tia. BP.160 Grammar Bank 10a. Defining relative clauses in spoken English. In informal spoken English, we tend to use that rather than who or which, and almost always leave out the relative pronoun when the subject of the clause changes, e.g., she's the player that John told us about. C. Choose 5 new words from this lesson and define them for a partner to identify. Use that instead of who, which, and leave out the relative pronoun where appropriate. It's a kind of exercise class that involves lots of different, short activities. Circuits. Content, canton. 10. Some footballers never seem content with their contracts. They're always trying to negotiate better terms. 11. Sports drinks often have a high sugar content. Wound woo. Wind. 12. He wound the tape tightly around his ankle to prevent a sprain. 13. You could see his head wound bleeding as he was taken off the pitch. Use Jew. Jew. S. 14. If you use a high-tech swimsuit, you'll be able to swim much faster. 15. It's no use complaining, the umpire's decision is final. B10.4 Listen and check. Practice saying the sentences. 10b No direction home. If you go anywhere, even paradise, you will miss your home. Malala Yousafzai, Pakistani activist. Gadding emphasis. 2. Cleft sentences v words that are often confused p intonation in cleft sentences. 1. Listening and speaking. Las Chimneas. Accommodation, activities, and discovery in the Alpujarra Mountains of Granada, southern Spain. Las Chimneas is a one dramatic set of converted village houses which have been welcoming guests to the Alpujarra since 1998. There are 9 two-rooms, each with fabulous views across the hills to the sea in the 3 distance. We provide very comfortable accommodation, with lots of antiques and books and hidden nooks and crannies, together with a delightful little restaurant that will surprise you by the quality of its freshly made produce. 4. Can you think of some reasons why people decide to go and live in another country, or move to another city in their country? B. Read an extract from the website of Las Chimneas and complete it with an adjective from the list. What would attract you to go there, and what might you do there? C. Dramatic, far, intimate, lovely, seasonal, warm, winning. 10.5 You're going to listen to an interview with David and Emma Ilsley, who run Las Chimneas. Read questions 1 to 8 and then listen to part 1 of the interview. Answer the questions with D. David, E. Emma, or B. Both. Who. Question mark. First got a job in Spain. Studied at Warwick University. Taught English. Fell in love with Myrina. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Taught in Granada for a year. 6. Worked in local government. 7, 8. Thinks having children help them to integrate. Employs local people. We have. And 5. knowledge of the area and are anxious to share our enthusiasm for this place which has been our home for so long. We offer all kinds of holidays, including trekking, birdwatching, cycling, painting, cookery, and yoga. Above all, what we supply is peace and relaxation, and are genuinely welcome. This represents a 7_ combination. Perhaps it is this that led the Times to number us amongst their top 10 of Europe's best mountain hideaways. David and Emma Ilsley. D. Listen again and answer the questions. 1. What does Emma say, seduced her about David's lifestyle in Mallorca? 2. What does David say they did on their year off? 3. How does David describe his experience as deputy mayor? 4. How does David think having a business has helped him to integrate? 10.6 Now read questions 1 to 5 and the 3 options for each. Then listen to part 2 and choose A, B, or C. 1. What Emma likes most about living in Myrina is ____. A. Being able to farm the land. B. The size of the village. C. The amazing weather. 2. What she likes least is the fact that A. There is so much bureaucracy. B. The local shops aren't very good. C. They have to use their car more than they would like. 3. Apart from family and friends, David misses _ A. Features of UK culture and behaviour. B. Some types of entertainment in the UK. C. The varieties of beer in the UK. 4. When Emma goes back to the UK, she enjoys ___. A. The nightlife in London. B. Being able to use public transport and not having to drive. C. Mixing with different kinds of people. That they will go back to live in the UK. 5. They think it. A. Is quite probable. B. Is highly unlikely. C. Is very likely. F. 10.7 Language in context. Listen to some extracts from the interview and complete the idioms and phrasal verbs. With a partner, say what you think they mean. 1. ... He'd agreed to let us rent this house for 2. 2. ... We wandered around and cycled around and finally. This little village of Myrina, where we live now. 3. ... We were A. And enjoying it too much, really, to want to go back. 4. ... As long as I can remember. I always A. I really wanted to live in a very small community. 5. ... On the one hand, it's great being away from shops, it's like a kind of a real kind of. ... So we've never really. 6. It would be tricky, I think, to come back, largely for economic or financial reasons. 7. To take them back to the UK, I think now, that would be perhaps a 8. ... I think once you've spent 15 years building up a business, then also that's something you don't want to easily or on. G. Talk to a partner. Do you, or friends of yours, have any experience of going to live in another country? Yes. Where did you move from or to? Why did you move? What were the pros and cons? How integrated did you feel? What did you miss? Black circle. Did might you go back home? No. What do you think are the pros and cons of question mark. Living in a country which is not your own. Living in a city in your country which is not your own. Would you like to move to another country or city yourself? 2. Grammar adding emphasis. 2. Cleft sentences. A. Sentences 1 to 4 convey ideas David and Emma expressed in one, but they phrased them in a slightly different way. Can you remember what they actually said? 1. David convinced me it was a good idea. It was. 2. When we had children, it really made a difference. The thing. 3. I really like that sense of cultural diversity in the UK. What 4. I definitely can't see us going back, because of Dan and Tom. The main reason. B10.8 Listen and check. What's the difference between the pairs of sentences? CGP.161 Grammar Bank 10b. 3. Pronunciation and speaking intonation in cleft sentences. A. Fine-tuning your pronunciation. Intonation in cleft sentences beginning with what? Dot. Dot. Or the person, place, thing, etc. Typically have a fall rise fall tone in the what? Dot. Dot. Or the person, dot. Dot. Clause. What I hate about my job is having to get up early. The reason why I went to France was that I wanted to learn the language. Cleft sentences beginning with it. Dot. Dot. Typically have a fall tone in the it. Dot. Dot. Clause. It was her mother who really broke up our marriage. It's the commuting that I find so tiring. 10.9 Read the information box. Then look at the highlighted phrases and listen to each example sentence. B10.10 Listen and repeat the sentences, copying the intonation. 1. What I don't understand is why she didn't call me. 2. The thing that impresses me most about Jack is his enthusiasm. 3. The reason why I left early was that I had an important meeting. 4. The place where I would most like to live is Ireland. 5. It was the neighbors that made our lives so difficult. 6. It was then that I realized I'd left my keys behind. C. Complete the sentences in your own words. Then use them to start conversations with a partner. What I would find most difficult about living abroad is... Dot. Dot. What I love about living here is... Dot. Dot. What I like least about living here is... Dot. Dot. The person I get on with best in my family is... Dot. Dot. The place where I can relax the most is... Dot. Dot. The reason I decided to carry on learning English was... Dot. Dot. 02. 4. Reading and speaking. Read the title and the first 2 paragraphs of the article. Why did Mitchell decide to walk from Wales to Poland? What do you think he might have learned from his walk? Why do you think he is holding a bird's nest in one of the photos? B. Now read about Mitchell's walk and number paragraphs AG in the correct order, 1 to 7. Go Home, Polish, graffiti prompts photographer's 1,200-mile walk. Then photographer Mitchell Iwanowski, 41, came. In said, home. Polish, he decided to take it literally. Here, in his own words, he tells how and why he embarked on the 1,200-mile walk from Wales back to his country of birth. I still remember seeing the graffiti. It was only small, but I was taken aback. Go Home, Polish. I had lived in Cardiff for many years and considered Wales my home. But I was also Polish, so I began to question whether I was at home or not, and where, in fact, home was. I had never felt any negativity towards me in Wales. I found the people warm and welcoming. But after the Brexit referendum, I felt a change in mood, not towards me, but towards immigrants in general. I felt some people were dehumanizing the other, and the concept began to terrify me. How could people turn on each other like this? From there I walked through Belgium, Holland, Germany, and the Czech Republic before reaching Poland. Along the way, I told people what I was doing and why, to see what reaction I would get. It was almost always positive. People shared their own stories, their own hopes and fears, their worries about their lives and situations. Only once was I shouted at, when I wandered onto an allotment in Germany to ask a man for directions. I began to realize that on an individual level, we have so much in common. B. I ended up low on energy and electrolytes. At one point, I remember throwing my backpack in the bushes and just wanting to give up, which is unusual for me, as I am an upbeat person. In the end, I sat there for about 2 hours, then got up again and continued the walk. In total, it took me 105 days to arrive in my home village of Mokotów, in western Poland. By the end, I was in survival mode. I was reclusive and refused company. I walked up my home street and, as I did, a group of my relatives slowly walked out to meet me carrying a "Welcome Home" banner. It felt like a funeral procession. It was very surreal. Back in the UK, there is still anti-Polish and anti-immigrant graffiti, of course, much worse than what I saw, and I deplore it every time I see it. We must never tolerate racist language. But I need to put away my cynicism and remember, as my walk showed me, that most people are generous and most people are good. It was then I began planning my journey, setting off on the 27th of April 2018 with a rough route map and a 15 kilograms backpack. Carrying British and Polish passports, I often wore a t-shirt bearing the word Polska, so people would know I was Polish. I walked over the bridge from Wales into England, then took the ferry to France. Of course, it didn't feel like an achievement at the time. Plenty of people walk long distances. But, looking back, it feels like I have achieved something. The walk helped me to solidify my views on home. I felt utterly at home walking across the breadth of Europe's landscape. I don't need to be told by a person or government where my home is and isn't. I belong to the ground beneath my feet, not to any country where I happen to have a passport. Much of the walking was enjoyable, whether it was through Brussels or Cologne, or through the bushes and wild forests of Germany. I would stay in Airbnbs, wild camp, or sometimes stay with strangers, who would often offer me food. But, as I was walking in the summer, I was hit by the Europe-wide heat wave, and began to find my mission unbearable. Glossary. Electrolytes, salts and minerals in your body that you lose when you sweat. Abridged from the BBC website. Read the whole article again. In the correct order. Then, with a partner, describe in your own words how Mitchell feels. 1. When he first saw the "Go Home" Polish graffiti. 2. When he spoke to people along the way. 3. When the heatwave struck Europe. 4. When he almost gave up. 5. When he arrived in his home village. 6. When he looks back at what he did. 7. When he sees anti-immigrant graffiti now. Look at 2 of the things that Mitchell said. Do you agree with them? Why not? I belong to the ground beneath my feet, not to any country where I happen to have a passport. Single quote. Most people are generous and most people are good. Single quote. 5 vocabulary words that are often confused. A look at some groups of words that are often confused. With a partner, try to explain the difference between the 3 words in each group. 1. Foreigner, stranger, outsider. 2. Emigrant, immigrant, migrant. 3. Journey, trip, voyage. 4. Walk, stroll, wander. 5. Reclusive, reserved, shy. 6. Achieve, succeed, reach. 7. Ground floor, soil. 8. Deplore, deny, decline. Now complete the sentences with the best word from each group in the correct form. 1. When I arrived at work, there was a complete sitting at my desk. 2. The farm usually employs fruit picking season. 3. The Titanic's first 4 mark. Keep up. Video listening. National Park Service. Ellis Island. Immigration Museum. Statue of Liberty National Monument. National Park Service. United States Department of the Interior. Watch a documentary about Ellis Island. Why are these names mentioned? Bersosky, Annie Moore, Isaac Asimov, Max Factor, and Elia Kazan. Watch again and complete the sentences with a number. 1. Ellis Island's first immigration point opened on 1st January. 2. From 1892 to 1954. Through Ellis Island. 3. About people past. % of America's population today have ancestors who came through Ellis Island. Class passengers. 4. Were allowed to disembark in Manhattan. 5. The Great Hall was used as the registry room from 1900 to on some days. People waited there. 6. Each person had first to undergo a Second medical exam. 7. They then had to wait in the Great Hall for about 2 hours to be interviewed. 8. In the interview, they were asked another questions. Workers in the was also its last. At such a fast pace that I couldn't. 9. About 5. The English have the reputation of being. It's never easy to know what they're really thinking or feeling. 6. When we finally breathed a sigh of relief. Our destination, we. 7. You can only grow these plants in acidic. 8. Most governments control protesters. The use of violence. 2% of passengers failed the tests and were sent back home. Of those that were allowed to stay, stayed in the New York area. 10. The era of mass immigration ended with the Immigration Act of C. Do you think it is easier or harder to be an immigrant to the USA today than in the days of Ellis Island? 9 and 10. Revise and check. Grammar. A right. Check mark. Or wrong. X. Question mark. Correct any mistakes in the highlighted phrases. 1. She's never been to the UK, but her son has. 2. She was shocked to receive his letter because had never expected to hear from him again. 7. This is the cafe I used to work in. Vocabulary. Write the words for the definitions. Opening parenthesis. Noun. Equals a young cow. 1. Opening parenthesis. Noun. Equals a small shelter for a dog to sleep. Opening parenthesis. Verb. Equals. Of a horse. To make a long, high. Opening parenthesis. Noun. Place. The sharp curved nails on the end of an animal or a bird's foot. Opening parenthesis. Noun. Equals a group into which animals, plants, etc. of the same type are divided. Opening parenthesis. Verb. To chase wild animals or birds in order to catch or kill them for food or sport. Bird's mouth. 2. In. 3. Do you think it's cold outside? B. I hope no. Sound. 4. Do you have a tins opener? 4. 5. I'd love a wine glass. Be sure. Red or white? 6. Jim hasn't called back. That is a bit strange. 5. 6. B. Circle the correct word or phrase. Tick. Check mark. If both are possible. 7. 1. Can I come with you? By suppose so, yes, but hurry up. 8. On. 2. You must see her latest film. 9. By already am, have. 3. Look, I found an old photo album of photos in the attic. Long time. 10. 4. Come over at 9:00. We'll be at Alex's house. 5. I can't find my car key. Have you seen it? 6. She has 2 sisters, both of whom are at university, who are both at university. 11. 12. 13. 14. 7. I got exactly that, what I wanted for my birthday, a new iPad. 8. Her aunt, who, that never normally said a word, suddenly burst out laughing. C. Complete the sentences using the bold word. 1. I didn't bring sunscreen because the weather forecast said rain. Reason. Because the weather forecast said rain. 2. I spoke to the head of customer services. Person. The head of customer services. 3. I don't like the way he blames other people for his mistakes. What? The way he blames other people for his mistakes. 4. I only said that I thought she was making a big mistake marrying him. All. I thought that she was making a big mistake marrying him. 5. A girl from my school was chosen to carry the Olympic torch. It was chosen to carry the Olympic torch. Opening parenthesis. Noun. The hard-pointed outer part of a. Opening parenthesis. Noun. Equals a thing you use to cut vegetables. Opening parenthesis. Verb. To cook south slowly in liquid for a. Verb. To rub food against a sharp surface in order to cut it into small pieces. Verb. To fill with another type of food. Verb. To make south become liquid as a. Result of heating equals, opening parenthesis, verb, to beat very quickly until it becomes stiff, e.g., cream, opening parenthesis, verb, equals to cut food, especially meat, into very small pieces, e.g., to make hamburgers. B. Complete the sentence with the correct form of the bold word. 1. The real, strong, of the film is its witty dialogue. 2. I need to get someone to. Short. My new jeans. 3. The pole vaulter Sergei Bubka was the first to clear the of 6 meters high. 4. The source will. 5. I can't express the deep. 6. The team has been player weak. 7. Can you measure the wide? 8. The school has decided to 3 days long as it cools thick of my feelings for you by the injury to its top of the window. The holidays by. C. Circle the correct word. 1. We went on a day journey, trip to London at the weekend. 2. He'll never be a successful politician, he's too much of a foreigner, an outsider. 3. I got completely lost in the old city and ended up strolling, wandering round for hours. 4. She declined, denied my offer of help. 5. Some people think the government needs to do more to make immigrants more welcome. 6. He succeeded his ambition of becoming a millionaire by the age of 25. 7. The climber was found lying on the floor, ground near the summit. 8. In her old age, she has become reclusive, shy and refuses to receive any visitors. Can you understand this text? A. Read the article once. Do you think it's fair for national football teams to have foreign-born players? B. Read the article again and choose A, B, or C. 1. Players can play for the Moroccan national team. A. If they can speak Arabic. B. If they were born in France. C. If they have a Moroccan grandparent. 2. The teams of reflect their country's history. A. Yugoslavia, Senegal, and Switzerland. B. Senegal, Switzerland, and Tunisia. C. France, Switzerland, and Tunisia. 3. Players with a choice of countries. Choose which country to play for. When they go for the most successful team. B. Maybe taking a risk. C. Cause a lot of problems. 4. Vieira was able to play for France because A. He was born in Senegal. B. He had moved to Europe when he was a child. Kai's grandfather had fought for France. 5. The writer thinks that Klose's decision to play for Germany was a sensible. B. Interesting. C. Unusual. Can you understand these people? 10.11 Watch or listen and choose A, B, or C. 1. Alicia says that her vegan friends are really fussy. B. Soy cheese isn't very nice. C. It's quite tricky to cook for vegans. 2. Vicky is good at A. Combining unusual ingredients. B. Inventing dishes. C. Following recipes. 3. Howell thinks that sports commentators are A. More helpful than annoying. B. More annoying than helpful. C. Only useful if you don't watch much sport. 4. Living in Germany appeals to Claire because A. It's a place where she's had some wonderful holidays. B. She used to have family there. C. She thinks both the lifestyle and the climate would suit her. Playing for your country. The players in Morocco's World Cup team receive instructions in 3 languages: English, French, and Arabic. 17 of the current 23-person squad were not born in Morocco. 8 in France, 5 in the Netherlands, 2 in Spain, and 1 each in Canada and Belgium. Morocco has a particularly large number of foreign-born players among World Cup squads. Players who were not born in the country are eligible to play for the national team if a parent or grandparent was born in the country, or if they have lived in the country for at least 5 years. But Morocco is not alone. In 2018, just over 10% of players in teams that qualified for the World Cup were born outside the country they were playing for. For many national teams, the foreign-born share of players reflects the nation's history. All 9 foreign-born players on Tunisia's team, and 8 out of the 9 on Senegals were born in France, the former colonial ruler. 3 of the 6 foreign-born players on Switzerland's team were born in Yugoslavia and migrated to Switzerland in the early 1990s. Immigrants from the former Yugoslavia made up roughly 6% of the population of Switzerland in 2009. For players with a choice of countries, the decision about which team to play for can be fraught. Once they play for a country's senior team in a competitive match, they cannot switch. Sofiane Amrabat, who was born in the Netherlands to parents of Moroccan descent, chose to play for Morocco, even though he had a good chance of being selected by the Dutch national team. It turned out to be a good choice. That year, Morocco made it into the World Cup for the first time in 20 years, while the Netherlands, a much higher-ranked team, did not. Here are 2 big-name footballers who have gone on to represent another national team. Patrick Vieira. We may know the former Arsenal captain as a star of the French midfield, but he was actually born in Senegal. When he was 8, Vieira moved to France with his family and was eligible for French nationality as his grandfather had served in the French army. He played for the French national team 107 times, helped him to win the 1998 World Cup on home soil, and went on to captain the team. He later revealed that Senegal had never asked him to play for them. Miroslav Klose. As the World Cup's top goal scorer, Miroslav Klose helped shape German footballing history. Born in Poland to a German father, Klose moved to Germany aged 8 knowing only 2 words of the language. In 2001, the Polish coach tried to persuade Klose to join his team. Klose later said it had not been an easy decision to choose Germany, and if the Polish officials had been faster, he would have played for Poland. He did add that he didn't regret his choice though, and with 16 World Cup goals to his name, who can blame him?